people first. I mean, every person in this world deserves somebody that will fight for them.
Right.
And how many people in this world never get to experience that? That's a sad thing.
I feel so blessed that people are cheering me on.
Right.
You know, and that is what I want for everybody. Welcome to the Living Ladder podcast. Today I'm hanging out with my eternal friend, Manny Lopez. We spend a lot of time together, and I just thought we would chop it up today. We're just going to talk about life, and thanks for coming over, Manny.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we work together, we hang out together, and sometimes we get really busy and then we don't hang out as much as I would like to.
Right.
But how's life? What's going on?
Life is good. So I've had a really busy week, but knowing that this was at the end of the week really fueled me through the week. And so I like that we still can motivate each other in ways like that. So that's super cool.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking this morning, like, it's like on one hand, we're these unlikely friends, like we joke about being Snoop and Martha.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we share some things. And I think one of them is addiction. We both struggled with addiction.
Right.
One of them is that we're both really passionate, you know, about serving our community. I think that's what kind of connected us when I first met you or saw you online. I was like, this guy really loves his people. And
I do.
I know you do. Yeah. It's interesting. I talked to a couple of people this week that I just can't imagine. Like, one of the guys is trying to get into the program that we run, and he has 2 kids. He's living in a homeless shelter. His wife's in prison, doesn't have transportation. And he's like, yeah, the challenges and barriers that he faces are pretty tough.
He's literally fighting to stay afloat.
Right. Yeah.
And everything is on the line.
Right. And he's like, man, I want to be in your program. He has the wrong insurance. And I'm like, we're going to figure out a way to get you in our program.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Because that's what we do.
Yeah, it is.
We figure it out.
Because we really love our people, and we are people first.
Yeah.
From the beginning, we've been people first. I mean, every person in this world deserves somebody that will fight for them.
Right.
And how many people in this world never get to experience that? That's a sad thing.
Right. And it's not something I understood. It's like, I think I had such a narrow view of the world before I went to prison. And I just almost sometimes offend myself when I look back and didn't know that there's so many people fighting for those basic things.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege that we get to work with some of those people now.
Do you ever trip out because you start hearing your name in these different places or getting these comments from people that you never would have expected to say thank you or, hey, you helped me today and I don't even know you?
Oh, all the time. Like, I feel, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, me? I feel like, it's like incredible that I'm in a place where people actually want to hear what I have to say.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. And then I feel so blessed that people are cheering me on.
Right.
You know, and that is what I want for everybody. I'm like, and I know people are so good. Like, they want to know. I spoke at a church event on Thursday, and when I got there, everyone there had brought stuff for the homeless. They're like, we don't know what to do with this. We just want to. So I actually have a truck, or my car is clear full of stuff. So I was going to see if you could help me distribute that. I was like, wow.
We got the people.
Yeah, I got socks and food and all kinds of things. And it's like, I think the world wants to help. I get those comments. It's like, what can I do? And I feel like the most important thing is you can believe in people.
Right.
You can believe they can come back from anything, you know?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, not everybody... Like, I get people that want to write people in prison. I'm like, I'm not sure that there's a way to do that. But if you can believe them and like hold them in your heart and cheer them on, that would be such a powerful change in the world.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I love that I get to go to the release day on Tuesdays at the prison and see the people that are coming out and going either home or somewhere. And most of them, they'll tell you they have a plan. But when you look in their eyes, you're like,
they're scared.
Yeah. And that is going to be a huge barrier for them.
Yeah.
And so we try and wrap around them immediately. Like, what can we do to support you?
Yeah.
What is your plan? Where are you going? Okay, here's this card.
Right.
Take this information. My cell phone number's on there. If you need to call me, call me. And then on the way around these tables, you tap in with every single resource here because you never know when one of those will be your saving grace.
Yeah. Well, what's kind of cool about that is that those people call me, right?
Yeah.
Because I help with the intake process. And then they'll say, I met this guy, I met Manny. Like everybody goes, I met Manny and I know Manny. Like last night I talked to 2 people that were struggling and both of them, I'm like, what brought you to us? I saw Manny. Like the fact
That's
that
so cool.
Yeah. The fact that you made it out and you're standing there, but you're no better than anybody else. You're like, we're on the same team, man. Let me help you out.
Yeah,
So
we're on the same team. And I try to push that message throughout the whole community. So you got these people that are cheering loud for you. How do you deal for the ones whose voices are just as loud, but that's not cheers for you?
Yeah. Well, that's
Do you
interesting.
experience that?
Oh yeah. So I got like a trail of messages, and it's not that often. Oh no. And it's not that often, but occasionally somebody feels really like so passionate and frustrated that I think I have a right to say something. Like,
how dare you believe that you can be in this arena helping people or speaking
you're a bad
on
person.
redemption
Right. Yeah.
when you shouldn't get that opportunity because of what you've been through.
It's exactly, the guy's words were, what makes you think you're worthy of redemption? You haven't done enough. And I'm like,
God,
yeah.
first and foremost, that's God's plan for everybody.
Right. And that's what I said. I said, well, that's actually between me and my Father in heaven.
Right.
So, but what was kind of cool, like at first, I usually don't respond to those because I'm like, this person has the view that they have. At first, I did send a response. I was like, hey, like for real, because he made some pretty personal comments, like your children, you're a terrible example. You've hurt your family. You've hurt everyone in your life. You're a terrible person, right? And so my response was, I think not giving up was the best outcome for my children. Yes, I made mistakes, but at this point, I think I've taught them that we don't give up when things aren't going well, and we can come back from things. I think I represent the possibility of redemption, and that's what made him mad. How dare you think you deserve redemption?
I'd be curious to know what is going on in that person's personal life that's causing him to lash out like that.
Right. And that's exactly the shift for me. So I ended up sending him a message and saying, I'm sorry that you're struggling.
Yeah, he's hurting.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you're hurting. And then I told him, my redemption's between me and my Father in heaven, and I wish you well. And then he sent me back, more messages or whatever. But I'm actually like praying for that guy because why are you hurting so much that you feel this need? And I think that that's really what it comes down to. The majority of people that are angry, it's coming from inside them. And when you can see that, like, it's not about me. It's not, you're hurting and I'm sorry that you are.
And look, in my groups that I help facilitate, I love to push people to the point where they'll just push it all out in the group.
Yep.
Even if it's directed at me.
Right.
I'm like, just give it to me. I'll take it, because I know it's not about me.
Right.
And at least that person can push that out for that moment, and they don't do it like maybe at work or on their wife or husband or children or anything like that. Because the more that you hold that in and harbor that, the more dangerous and poisonous that it becomes. And here's your opportunity to do it in a healthy-ish direction.
Sometimes you just need to run it out.
Maybe a safer direction,
Right.
Just push it out, man. Like I'll take it. I've been through worse.
Right. Yeah. I love that. What do you think is like for you when you're facing challenges? Because there's no way that you grow the way you've grown without like coming up against things. What is your biggest challenge?
Right now, I have challenges daily. I mean, I got challenges on top of challenges that I deal with. But I feel like I've become friends with my challenges, with adversity, because the cycle of life is either you're in adversity, coming out of it, or about to go back into it. It's always been that way, and it'll always be that way.
Right. If you want to grow, you can get stuck, but that is almost worse to me than anything.
One way or another, you're going to deal with adversity. And so when I'm in adversity, I choose to stick it through and power through. And I might talk about it more than I should or focus on it more than I should. And I have a lot of people that tell me like, why are you letting this person or this situation take so much of your power? And I really have to think about that sometimes. And for me, I'm an emotional person.
Me too. Yeah.
And I have to let that emotion run its course and find a healthier way to transform it into something that's going to be beneficial for me. And so that's what I do with some of these situations is I'm like, I need to feel it.
Yeah.
And I need to feel all of it. I don't want to pretend that it's not there. And like, I'm just not going to focus on it. Let me feel it. Let me grow from it. And then let me use it to help somebody.
I love that.
Let me use it to help the community. And look, I'm like, be realistic. Like a lot of people say that they want you to succeed until they see you succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And then that shifts for some. And for me, that is one of the most things that I struggle with the most is people that I feel should be cheering for me the most or have said like, we got your back or we want you to be successful and all these things. And then when I start becoming that, they're the quietest. And that hurts because I build bonds that are really, really tight. And maybe the other person on the other side doesn't build bonds like that, but that doesn't stop mine from doing that, from being so close. And that probably comes from living in the streets and addiction and homelessness and living in prison for so long in a gang where like you may have one soup, one ramen noodle between three people and that bond is close when you're splitting that thing three ways.
Yeah.
When you're all you have and you move into a cell with somebody and they might have some struggles with and some beef with people in the prison and you may have some as well and you come together really fast and be like, I got your back and you got my back. Right. You create an instant bond.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been a part of my life so much that I still do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I attached so well to you when we met. And it was like, hey, let's go do this. You're like, hey, we're going to go speak here. We're going to do that. We're going to create a program. We're going to do all these things. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I got your back and I believe in you.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I feel that so deeply with you. And I think that's what makes you special is that when you love and care for people, you are in their corner and so loyal. And you just do. You love so deeply.
Yeah. And it's not just people. It's also places and organizations and things like that. Like if you've had an impact in my life, like I really, really cherish you. Mm-hmm. And when that love isn't reciprocated, it hurts.
Right.
You know, you hear people say like some people come into your life for a season or some people come into your life for a reason. And sometimes those seasons and reasons don't last very long. And so afterwards, what do you do with that? Because for me, when that, like, I appreciate the lesson from everything, but I'm still going to miss you on the way out.
Facts. Yeah. I get that. And I think that may be why, like, pretty much you were raised by the prison. You were raised by the state of Utah.
Well, also the juvenile system. I just was at Decker Lake speaking and performing to the boys over there. And I ran into one of the counselors that was staff when I was in DT while I was getting certified and then going to jail and prison and all that. And I was like, wow, like sometimes I forget how much of these systems I've been a part of.
Yeah.
And he recognized me immediately and gave me a big hug. He's like, what's been going on with you? and at the end of all that, when we were leaving, you know, I gave him a really big hug. His name's Rod. Shout out to Rod over there at Decker Lake. And I just thanked him. And I said, you know what? You gave me some tough love that I needed when I was going through a really big transitional period in my life. And I just want to thank you for every single talk because when I was 16 years old being transported to the adult jail, when I was 17 years old being transported to the adult prison, like those stuck with me. And I was able to draw on those in times where I felt like nobody cared. And I was like, there's that one person that did care because he spoke to me the way that he did about the things that I needed to hear in those moments. And yeah, it was kind of emotional for me.
Yeah.
And I let him know, like, look, I'm pretty sure like you've dealt with thousands of kids since me.
Right.
And so you probably don't remember the exact talks that you gave me, but I do. And I think that was the point of it.
Wow. And so what would you say? Because I would think that it could be so difficult. I have a lot of people that follow that are, that work in prison systems or juvenile, that are COs and it probably gets discouraging at times. So
especially when you see the people get out and come back, get out and come back.
Yeah.
Like it even gets discouraging on the inmate side.
Yeah.
I remember people that were doing life sentences or weren't going to see daylight for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I would get these paroles. I'd get in, I'd come back on a parole violation and get these paroles again really fast and get out and then come back. And they're like, dang, you're back again, huh? I wish I had one chance.
Right. And the people in the system may not know it, but every single one of those times that you went back, you needed them.
Yeah.
Every single
I
time.
needed them. And I learned something that was important. And now one of those guys, the main guy that I've experienced that with, is out.
So cool.
And he's seeing the things that I'm doing. And now we're kind of helping to push him to do that in the rural area that he's living in.
So cool.
You know?
Yeah. Like I feel like there's this shift. Maybe it's just me, but I'm pretty passionate too. Like my heart is in it. And I feel like there's this shift where the world wants to give people a chance.
I believe so.
Yeah. I feel it. Like I feel like people can get out of prison and the world will welcome them home.
Right. Well, everybody loves a story where somebody comes from adversity and struggle and has to fight their way out of some of these situations that they're in. And we want to champion that person, you know?
And the few people that don't, like this guy the other night, what do you say to somebody that just says, you made a mistake, you have to live in that for the rest of your life? You have no right to talk about this.
And I'm just really curious on what his mistake is that he's really holding on to.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what is it that's hurting you so deeply that you're so judgmental of yourself that you can't give anyone else a chance, that you're scared to believe that somebody can come back from it. You can't open that door for yourself,
Right. I think it's like maybe the individual's in a place where he's like, I'll never be able to get out of what I'm in.
So why should she be able
or
to?
overcome the pain that I'm feeling?
Right.
So nobody else should be able to too. And it's not fair.
Yeah.
And, I've come to believe that life is incredibly unfair, but it's unfair in our favor. And I got to see that on a cool video.
That's right. I need to reach out to her still.
Yes, please do.
We need to have her on the podcast.
Yeah.
I know.
And I would love to be here even if I'm just a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Her story's really cool.
Yeah. But it's true. Like life is very unfair. It's super unfair to all of us. But when you really think about it, it's unfair in our favor. And it's in our best interest to go through these challenges and go through these hard things so that we can see what's on the other side, so that we can get a taste of success, because every single one of us is worthy of that. Every single one of us has the potential to be that. I get to speak at all of these cool places. And so it was Decker Lake yesterday morning performing and speaking, and then going through all the sections. That was really cool. Not every kid in Decker Lake got to go to the concert. Mm-hmm. It was kids that had to earn it. And out of 30 kids, only 7 earned it.
Oh, dang.
And we just really wanted to empower those 7
mm-hmm.
to empower the other kids in their section. Like, hey, when we come back again, be at the right level that you got to be at so you can experience this as well.
Right.
And then we went through all the sections and told them, hey, man, we want to hang out with you guys. We want you to level up, be at level 4 when we come back, because we want you to come and hang out.
Yeah. And
we gave them hugs, and to see them latch onto us just speaks to the need for connection.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to a guy last night who has been in and out of prison. He grew up here in Utah. His parents were both heroin addicts, and dad not around, stepdad beat up mom, some of those things you've experienced. And I was asking him, I'm like, tell me a little bit about your trauma. And he goes, oh no, I don't have any trauma. He's like, and I don't think he understood.
Denial.
Yeah, a little bit. But what he said was, and it's something I've experienced, like as I watch you share your story, he said, my mom was really broken, but she did the best that she could. She had her own addiction and her own struggles. And he's like, I started acting a fool when I was a teenager, which to me, it's like when you're in that type of environment, what's going to come next? You're going to end up using drugs and stuff. And he said, but what I'm really grateful for, and he's coming into our program, like he's so excited. But
good for him.
Pretty sure he met you and said, I want to be like Manny, the usual.
But he can be better than Manny.
Yeah.
He's got an opportunity to be him.
Right.
The successful version of him. And I think that might be even a little bit cooler.
Yeah, that's what I say too. But anyway, he said, he's like, I just want a chance. He's like, he's working 2 jobs right now. He's just grinding and grinding.
Good for him.
Yeah. And he said, he's like, my children, my daughter's mother is willing to let me stay here. And I said, are you in a relationship? He said, no, but she knows I need the help right now and I can be around the kids, but I'm looking for my own place. And I was just like, my heart, I just wanted to give the guy the biggest hug, And I feel like I hear those stories every day. I hear those stories every day because of what we do together, which is
Right.
amazing. And the things that I hear have changed me. And it's a big reason that I decided to do a podcast. It's a big reason that I talk on social media, because I believe that if people knew what I knew, like I knew if anyone knew your story, they would love you because you just are amazing. And so those stories need to be told.
Thank you. It's because I am you.
Yeah.
One way or another, like we have a similar story. What's crazy about my story is it has so many different elements of trauma and things that people struggle with.
Right.
And I think it isn't until I'm like standing in front of a group of people and sharing it that I'm like, wow, because I could go 5 minutes into my story and like that was a major thing that I had to overcome.
Right. And we aren't even at 12 years old yet.
Right. And then there's another one and another one and another one and this relationship and that relationship. And I'm not even going to lie. I used to just wonder like, why me? Like, why is it these things one after another? Like, is it always going to be like this? And if I hadn't leaned into the power of faith and absolutely knew that my Heavenly Father has a plan for me, I probably would have broke down a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, your faith is super inspiring. It's like so personal to you, and you've always had it. Like I remember asking you about drugs, and you're like, I never wanted to be that person. I always believed God had a plan for me.
I just felt like I was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
I was just going through that cycle of life. You know, again, I was latching on to whatever was around. The people using drugs, they were there, so I latched onto them.
Mm-hmm.
The gang, it was there, so I latched onto it. I've been searching for connection my whole life.
Yeah.
Never really realizing like I had a firm connection the whole time that would have taken me, you know, whatever direction that I really wanted to go in life.
So I wanted to ask you about an experience that I kind of witnessed. Like we've been friends for a while, and I thought I knew your story really well. And then someone reached out to you who was a foster parent,
Mm-hmm.
and you shared with me that you had actually been a Wednesday's child.
Yeah. For those that don't know what a Wednesday's child, that's basically a kid that was advertised on the news, on the evening news, up for adoption.
And they basically parade you. I don't think they do it anymore. It's almost like adopt a pet, but adopt a kid. And they sent you to Texas too, right? Like you
to New Mexico.
Okay. So you were on the news in New Mexico and Utah. And at the time you're in a foster home. That foster family reached out to you.
Right.
And basically and there was another kind of adoption scandal at that time. And it worked. I mean,
it was crazy. So this woman that portrayed herself as a young boy because she looked young would go from like foster families or adopted families to adopted families. She was a grown woman, and it became this whole big scandal. And so on the end of that, after this person had been arrested and I believe taken to the prison out here, they were doing stories for children that were really in need of families. And I was one of those kids that they did a story on.
How old were you?
7 or 8. I couldn't have been more than 8.
And what did you want?
No.
Okay.
10.
You were 10. Okay, because you went into the foster system.
Because I went into at 9.
And you just wanted to be adopted.
I just wanted a family. I just wanted to belong. Again, I feel like we're all searching for connection from the moment that we come into this world.
Yeah.
You know, dependency is I depend on everything from somebody else. And so I latch on to that until I can learn or be taught to have independence and give that to myself. Well, there was no way at that age that I knew how to do anything independently. Right. So I depended on everything from other people.
Yeah. And so what was that like for you going from foster home to foster home and basically not being adopted or
It sucked. It really sucked, especially because that foster home, and you and I drove up there and they met my wife and my daughter. That foster home was probably the best foster home I'd ever been in. When I felt the most connection, I was going to church, I was going to school, and I was actually removed from that foster home. They sent me to another one later on, and it really broke me. And it was the next foster home that I went to that I said, enough is enough, and I'm going to figure out life on my own. And then I started going on the run from my foster homes and going back to, my family, my biological mother and uncles and aunts and cousins, and the drug use came in, and then the gang life came in and everything after that.
Yeah.
So, it was rough.
Right. And I think there was also this moment for you where, and they kind of looked at you and apologized.
Yeah.
But you also said, I needed to go through all that to become the man.
Just shout out to them for the decisions that they had to make, and shout out to them for taking me in initially, and every other kid that they've taken in.
Yeah. I remember when I heard that story, and I just it made my heart hurt so deeply, because when I was a kid, I'm watching the Wednesday's Child Kid, and I'm just like, they need a family, and I didn't.
Well, it's like the commercials you might see late at night where the animal is like beaten and shaking and like, please adopt this animal or send some money because this kid is starving. Like It was like one of those commercials.
Right. Yeah. Unbelievable. So where's life for you right now at home with your family?
We have the new baby.
Yeah.
She's 5 months old. She's growing fast. She's getting a personality of her own. I just love her. I love that. Like when I come home from, giving my all to whatever I'm doing in this recovery community, and that's what I come home to.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And my wife, who's been, busting her tail to do everything that she does for the business and for the program and to help individuals. And, I don't think people see how much we do, especially on the back end of everything.
Yeah, it takes,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
But we all do a lot. You do a lot. I do a lot. Missy does a lot. Case management does a lot. Clinical does a lot.
It just takes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, do you feel good about it? Like at the end of the day, I feel like I gave my all. Like I can honestly say that. And that's okay. For the ones that tapped into it, shout out to you.
Yeah.
For the ones that refuse to, shout out to you. Whatever your path is, it'll lead to somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I love it. And I think we all put in the work.
So after Decker Lake, get this. So I do the thing with the youth at Decker Lake, and I'm exhausted because I just performed. I did like 20 minutes of music and then spoke. And then after that, I have a commitment to go to Natsu. Shout out to Natsu and everything they're doing over there. I love everything that I saw. I have to drive out to Tooele. And for those that aren't familiar with our cities in Utah, Salt Lake and Tooele aren't right next to each other. You got to drive around a mountain to get there.
Right.
And I get there, and they are just excited.
Did you perform? No.
I didn't perform. They kept asking, like, do some freestyle songs and all that. And I was like, today I'm just going to share my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started speaking, and everybody would just latched on, the men and the women. And everything that I had to say in my story touched multiple people there. And I was just like, you can do it. I know you're going through something right now. This is a transitional phase. Metamorphosis,
right?
The process of transformation from an immature form to an adult form in 2 or more stages. That is what you're going through right now. And to battle through that, to become something better, you have to go through this phase. And that was super cool. People really tap into when I talk about Misty and the relationship that we have,
mm-hmm.
where it started and where it's at now.
Yeah.
And we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But in that short time that all of the pain and the trauma and the abuse and the making it through treatment and getting back together and overcoming every obstacle that was in our way to be happy and together it's amazing. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Chad and I say that all the time, like what you guys have accomplished in the amount of time that you have is, it's a miracle. So,
well, we have good, healthy relationships for us in our lives that we can hang around.
Yeah.
And yours and Chad's is one of them.
Mm.
When we're struggling with something, we're like, I'm sure they are too.
Absolutely.
In ways. And we communicate, like we talk with each other, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Me too. Yeah. So I was speaking I get to go to the MTC and speak, which if you don't know what the MTC is, it's the Missionary Training Center in Provo, Utah. So every 2 weeks I go in and talk to the new missionaries coming in. And the other night I was speaking at a Relief Society event, which is also a church event. And there were probably 60 women there. Mm. And I felt this incredible amount of love as I looked at these women. And they were all different ages. And I said, do you have any idea how important you are? Like every decision you make takes you to the next level. And when I go to the MTC and see this army of young people that are ready to go out and change the world, every step you made took them there.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people that follow. I was surprised to find out that are like in the 65 age range, like on YouTube and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I have some friends that have even reached out and said, but I don't understand what my purpose is right now. I'm like, your purpose? You are so important. All of your life and experience is grounding to this world. Like everything you've done to this point, we need you to continue to stay in the game. The way you see people, you can bring that shift where the world is a more open, loving place, right? Where it's not just we got to protect ourselves from people that are in prison, but you can welcome them home. And I don't know, I just feel like there's this opportunity for the world to level up, the whole world.
Well, and I think that you really have to have that communication with your higher power, whatever that is for you. For mine, I choose for it to be my Heavenly Father. And that higher power will show you what your purpose is.
Yeah.
You really want it, you really ask on a deep, deep level, and it'll be presented to you. And I hope that you're ready for it, and I hope that you're listening closely for what it is, but it'll be there.
Right. Yeah. I shared that when I was in prison, I had this deep sorrow, because of the mistakes that I made and the pain that my children were in and my husband. I felt like I had failed so epically. My experience was a little different because I didn't grow up in the justice system. And all of a sudden I'm there and I'm like, who am I? Like, why am I on this earth? How am I going to come back from this?
Right.
And I remember asking that question and feeling the most incredible amount of love I'd ever felt. And it was totally different than anything I'd ever thought.
You were in tune. You were listening for it.
I was listening and I wasn't telling him who I am. I wasn't saying, oh, I'm a photographer. I grew up doing that. I'm going to be successful at this. It was just like, who am I? And I need to know, not like in any worldly way. I just need to know who I am because I don't have it in me to get through this. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so much grander than what I could have imagined. And so is everybody else.
Yeah.
Like we are so grand and we have this ability to transform in ways. And when you know who you are, and this is really important, you can see who everyone else is too.
Right.
That's why you can look at everyone and see who they really are because you know who you are. Until you know who you are, you're not really able to completely recognize someone else's divine potential.
You will struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the way you see people is their potential.
Yeah.
But that's because God saw that in you first.
And we know that the majority of communication is nonverbal. So you need to be listening, not just for the words, but the emotion.
Yep.
You need to be listening for it to come at you any which way that anything can be communicated to you. Yeah. So many people, they sit around and they wait for the perfect opportunity to start, not knowing that to just start is the perfect opportunity.
Right. Right. One of the things that was really empowering for me, and I know you do this too, because there I am in prison, and I'm like, what can I do? I'm so used to worldly tasks. Like I could go build a company or I can go do this. But I can't do that. So I decide, okay, so I'm going to rewrite my life. I'm going to make a character statement. I'm going to figure out what my values are. And I think my affirmations on a daily basis of who I am, I write those, I say those, I think those. That's something that you've done really well, not just for you, but for your daughter.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's so cool to hear her. Like, I wish my kids were a little younger when I came home, but my grandkids now and my children, because when we're the best version of ourselves, then our children, they sync up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't as much what we do.
Well, they need that example.
Yeah, they do.
Even if they communicate that they don't, and it's a pushback, but you'll come to a place where it just meshes well. And I mean, I think you express all the time how you get these comments from your daughter like, my mom always told me that I can do hard things. And so now I'm doing hard things.
Doing hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to that.
Shout out to CJ. CJ's been through a lot of hard things.
Right.
Yeah. And
one thing I know about her, she doesn't give up.
Right.
I've saw it time and time and time again. She doesn't give up. She just gets up and powers through and gets up and powers through.
Yeah.
And I think that really shows a combination of everything that you are and everything that Chad is.
Yeah.
And the best of both of you have been put into her.
I'm so grateful for your influence in her life and so proud of her.
Yeah. She's awesome.
She's amazing. So it's pretty cool to see.
When you do this for others and not for yourself, you're going to see a payout that comes to yourself that you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. I really believe that, when you build a foundation for just yourself, it's going to crack under pressure.
Facts.
But when you build a foundation for everyone, then that becomes the fortress that keeps everyone safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I work with a lot of people, coach people that are struggling with their kids, and it's difficult. But I look at them and what can I do? What can I do? I go, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Got to do it. You got to find a way today to ground yourself and strengthen yourself, because you are going to be that strength for them. If you can't do that, they will get lost. Like, you'll get lost. And then what good are you?
Right.
You have
how often do we see, like, when parents come to us and they're struggling with their kids and we're like, well, okay, well, really, we need you to work on you.
Right.
Because you're the
kid.
biggest problem in that system.
So true. No, because I worked with the youth for the longest time, and I'm just like, yeah, the kids are struggling. But every single time I ask the kids, I'm like, what do you wish your parents knew? And they would say that I can figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
That I know how to solve my problems. Like, my parents think they know. It's their journey. They need to figure it out on their own. You got to figure you out and let them figure them out.
Right.
So hard, though.
Yeah, they just want you to take their kid and fix their kid.
Yeah.
Because they're not willing to do any work on themselves.
Right.
Do some work on yourself.
Right.
And then watch it shift. And you'll communicate that to your children and they'll pick up on it.
Right.
But if you're not willing to work on yourself, you're communicating that to your child as well.
Right. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. And it doesn't get any easier.
It gets better though.
Well, I mean, it because I have grown adults now that I'm working with, and their parents are asking me to work with them as well, and it's still the same problem. And, in a lot of cases, the parents are doing well, like they have a job and the kids aren't doing as well. But I'm like, the only thing you can do is figure out where you can improve yourself.
Right.
That's it. Like, you gotta, and believe
Is it the
that they will.
communication, right? Is it your time management? Like, all of those things are affecting your children.
Right. And maybe it's just that you need to believe they can figure this out. Because you're so afraid, and the more you're trying to tell them how to do it, the more you're communicating you don't know how to do it.
Right.
So.
This year has been so good, and we're about to go into 2026.
I know. You got to do some vision work, man.
I'm nervous.
For what's coming or what?
Yeah, well, everything that's coming, and also I begin my master's program in January.
Right.
And I know that's not going to be as easy. Not saying that bachelor's was easy, but it's not going to be as easy, and it's going to be super focused. I'm going to have to dial in.
Yeah.
And so, everything that I'm doing, and like I'm out there speaking and doing all these things and going to the prison, the halfway houses and all those things. And I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to have to pull back from some of those, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Which ones am I willing to pull back from? And honestly, right now, I don't know, because every single one is important.
Yeah.
Every single one serves a purpose.
Yeah.
For the people, for myself, for my family, for the program. And, but we'll see. We have a really good team, and
yeah, we do.
And I think when it's time for me to transition into that, I'm going to see the miracle happen just like it always does when I put my faith exactly where it needs to be and trust the power of our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And it's all going to work out the way that it's supposed to. It's not my plan.
It's God's plan.
God's plan. So.
Well, you will level up, like, for sure. When I took on, it's only been a year that I started talking on TikTok and, all this.
It's crazy.
And it's that's exploded, right?
Yeah.
Like, that started, and then my Instagram and everything else. And then I started feeling that nudge, like, I need to do a podcast. And it was like, I don't have the energy to do that right now. Like, it's just going to take more energy. And I feel like, and you have expressed this to me, the more I do, the more I can do. Yeah. I will level it up,
Yeah, I think we build this strength from going through just don't give up on yourself when you're going through the difficult times.
Exactly.
Like, you push through.
Pull back, push through, because that will give you the energy to take the next step.
The growth and the strength that you need so that you can do more, that you can take on more later on.
Right.
It's just like working out. Resistance promotes growth. That's how a muscle works. The more you lift, the stronger you get to lift more.
Right.
That's how it is spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I feel like it's the same process.
Absolutely.
That's just wash, rinse, and repeat.
What other things are going on that you think would be worth talking about?
I want to give a big shout out to the Utah Department of Corrections, Adult Probation and Parole for the faith that you put in us, and even just the willingness to talk to us about something that's so different with the program that we've brought, and then being willing to give us a chance.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. Not everybody gets that.
Right.
And it's really a system that saw me grow up and was like, okay, we've seen the rough parts of him. We've seen the tough parts of him. We've seen the growth that he's capable of. And now, I'm coming up for a pardon that I think we're putting in beginning of the year. And I'm getting these letters from some of the higher ups that are saying, hey, we see your growth and we think that you deserve a chance
So
to not have that label on you. And that's super cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody that's sending those letters to me. And I haven't had one person that I asked, hey, are you willing to write a letter, that said no, or I don't think that would be good for me in the position that I'm in, or any of that.
Right.
They're like, absolutely, we would love to.
So cool. Yeah. Literally watching the way corrections has become family.
Right.
And they are cheering people on.
Yeah.
They really want to see people succeed. And that's so different, because in the past there's been this us versus them. They're the bad guys. They're just locking us up. They don't care. They don't want us to succeed.
Yeah.
We don't see that at all. That's what we do.
I remember at first I was like, okay, they let me be a part of this. Now I have to be careful who I have around me or who I bring along, because it's like, this is like a once in a lifetime thing. And now I'm like, you know what? If you're putting in the work, just come on.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go in the halfway house and you're doing good and you have a message to give to these men and these women, come on.
Yeah.
Let's do it, because, I can only help so many people.
Yeah.
But we can help a ton of people together.
Right.
So, if you have a passion for this, like, first and foremost, do the work on yourself and get yourself to a place where you have a message that you can give to somebody.
Right.
And then let's go and spread that.
Yeah.
And if we can help in any way, we want to.
Right.
We want to be that for you and for everybody in the world.
Right. Love it. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks for
Thanks for coming over today.
letting me hang out with you again.
Yeah, and we'll do it again
Yeah.
and again. and Misty's a bright shining star.
Yes, she is.
And so is Chad. We are so fortunate to
Yeah.
have the spouses and the relationships. It's definitely God's plan.
And stay tuned, because my family might have some news that we'll present to the world soon that you might be happy and excited about.
Absolutely. Thank you again for joining us on the Living Ladder podcast. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.